I'm so glad to be able to visit with you, and I'm glad you would take the time to join me with this devotion, whether you're catching it live or catching it later. Either way, that's great, and I'm thankful that you would jump on and take the time. Our text is Psalm 42. And by the way, before we read the text, I just want to say I'm praying for you and for our church family. A lot of folks in Connecticut are still without power. We got power where we are, but little by little it's coming back on. And if you have a need, if there was some urgent situation and you need something that we can get to you, please call the church or even reach out to me or send me an email. We'll respond as quickly as we can. We have a wonderful church family with a lot of love and care to go around, and we certainly wouldn't want you to be without something that you need. So please don't hesitate to reach out if there is a need. I hope that we'll see you this Sunday. We'll plan to still have our 3 services. The church has power, so 9, 10:30, and noon. And of course, we'll be streaming as well. Looking forward to a great weekend. I'm excited about the message and the worship and what God will teach us. And I'm really excited about Psalm 42. Again today, this passage just really encourages me as I think I've been meditating a lot on what we talked about yesterday from verse 6. Oh my God, my soul is cast down within me. Therefore will I remember thee from the land of Jordan, of the Hermonites, from the hill Mizar. Verse 7 takes it kind of a different direction. Deep calleth unto deep at the noise of thy waterspouts. So now the psalmist is talking about floodwaters, really, coming down from Mount Hermon, down the Jordan River, towards the Dead Sea. Masses of water at certain times of year, especially back then, would have been coming down through that valley. Deep calleth unto deep at the noise of thy waterspouts. All thy waves and thy billows are gone over me. So there's a comparison here that the psalmist is saying, I feel like I'm being flooded. I feel like I'm drowning in this flood. Now remember, we already set up that he's talking about his soul thirsting, his soul panting, his soul being cast down, his soul being disquieted. Verse 6, my God, why my soul is cast down within me? So he feels completely overwhelmed, and he says, I'll remember God. I'll remember God from the land of Jordan, the Hermonites, hill Mizar. We talked about that yesterday. All the phases of life, all the places of life, all the times that God has been there in different seasons. And he reminded me that he was there. And so now in verse 7, the psalmist feels flooded. He feels overwhelmed. Deep calleth unto deep at the noise of thy waterspouts. All thy waves and thy billows are gone over me. Lord, I'm drowning. Okay, that's kind of what he's getting across. I feel totally overwhelmed. The sorrow, the depth of despair is flooding me. It's overtaking me. But he's remembering. He's remembered God. We've talked about this. He's talking to his soul, and he's cultivating his soul. So what does he remember? Verse 8, yet the Lord will command his loving kindness. Yet the Lord will command his loving, and in the night his song shall be with me unto the God of my life. I hope that my video is still going. I just got a phone call, so it looks like it is to me. So let's read verse 8 again. Yet the Lord will command his loving kindness in the daytime, and in the night his song shall be with me, and my prayer unto the God of my life. So a lot of things that to me just jump out. First, one day at a time, okay? When you're overwhelmed, when life has a way of overwhelming you, and I have no doubt, probably somebody watching this video is overwhelmed right now, okay? I've been there many times. If you've walked with the Lord any length of time, you've been there. You know what it's like to be totally overwhelmed, for your soul to be drowning, can't catch its breath, cast down, at war within itself, disquieted is the words of this psalm. He says, I'm going to remember God. I'm going to remember that God is with me. He's been with me all through this journey. He's been with me at mountaintops. He's been with me at vantage points. He's been with me in valleys. He's always with me. I'm going to remember that, okay? And what will he remember about God? That God will command his loving kindness in the daytime. No matter when I feel overwhelmed, no matter what's going on, God is going to be with me. He's going to walk with me. He's going to give me what I need when I need it, one day at a time, okay? I learned this in a huge way when I had cancer. Another huge way when we transitioned to Connecticut, following God's call. I talked to somebody this morning that was overwhelmed. I talked to folks earlier this week that are overwhelmed. I've spent actually a lot of time on the phone this week with people that are overwhelmed. And I know this, that God's loving kindness is real. He is faithful. And sometimes you can't see tomorrow or the next day. It's like the storm that blew in and you can only see a little ways in front of you, okay? You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's happening. You don't know where you are quite. But God does, and his loving kindness never leaves you, okay? So you follow him in faith. You know he led you to where you are. You know he's going to continue leading you. He commands his loving kindness every day, all day. So one day at a time, every day. You can count on him every single day. There'll never be a day that you can't count on him. All day, okay? So this is a perpetual loving kindness that you know, even when you feel overwhelmed, even when you feel the floods and the waves and the billows are crashing over you and overwhelming you, you can know that God's loving kindness is always with you, always taking care of you. And in the night, his song shall be with me, and my prayer unto the God of my life. So God's presence, the worship of God, the remembrance of God, and my prayer crying out to God. These are the things that hold us stable when we are overwhelmed. And so the psalmist is committing to this. His song is going to hold me together at night when I'm in the darkness and can't get my bearings, when I don't know where I am or where I'm headed. God's song, his worship, his truth, his realities, I'm going to sing to him. And he will keep my heart and my prayer. I'm going to pray to him. He is the God of my life. So circumstances overwhelming. God always with me, always present. His song always holding me. His loving kindness always available in the daytime. My prayer, him listening to my prayer every night, one day at a time, every day, all day. This is called life with God. This is called being a follower of Jesus. And this psalmist, though he feels cast down, though he feels overwhelmed, though he feels like he's drowning, he knows that God's loving kindness is with him, and he's committing himself to being a person of worship and a person of prayer no matter what, no matter what, no matter what. One day at a time, he's going to get through those floods. He's going to remember how God took him through previous floods. He is the God of my life. God of my life. My friend Steve Amerson sings a song, and it's part French and part English, called Lord of My Life. Seigneur de ma vie is what the name of the song is. And if you look up Steve Amerson online and you go to his album called Sacred Spaces, it's one of my favorite albums. And I love the Lord's Prayer. But Seigneur de ma vie, Lord of my life, that song, when I had cancer, there was this overwhelming darkness that wanted to keep encroaching into my heart and life. When we transitioned to California, the same kind of psychological soul disquieting, cast down thirst was very, very present in my life. In those times, I kept turning to the song, Lord of My Life, because it says, I'll go where you go, hope of my soul, Lord of my life. And through all the song, what can I give you after all is said and done? How can the love that's in my heart be said or sung? Just let my life, I can't remember all the words, but it's powerful. And I couldn't get through the first verse and chorus singing it to the Lord when I was sick or when I was transitioning to the East Coast to be a pastor. I couldn't get through the first verse or chorus without weeping, because it was placing me. It was putting me back into the light of God as the Lord of my life. He has led me into the storm. He's going to lead me out of the storm. My mind, my soul feels disquieted and cast down and like it's being overwhelmed, but it's not. In reality, the truth is God's loving kindness is going to keep me, and his song and my prayer will go to him at the night, and he's going to get me through this. And he did. He has in many other situations, and he will for you, my friend. So he is the God of my life. I hope you'll hang on to that thought today.